Typically on this channel, I only VOD review pro players, but on my last video, I got a comment from a viewer asking me to watch an average person play the solo cash cup. So Laser Crash YT, ask and you shall receive. Let's do it. All right, so I've got his replay in. We are jumping straight into this. I'm curious to see how my man does. We're in game, and now all we have to do is find my boy Laser Crash. Let's see where he's at here. Boom. Okay. All right, Laser Crash, you asked for it. Now you receive. Let's see what you do here. So it looks like you're landing at a spot I recommended. So if you guys haven't seen it, first of all, that video is already out. I'd recommend go checking it out. I talked about some of the most underrated solo spots as well as asked or answered some questions related to solos. This guy's landing here. And what do you know? Uncontested. This spot is actually insane, by the way. This spot is, for solos, one of the best. So boom, gets it. He's looting up. I'm very curious to see how this does, or how he does this game from this spot. Kind of gets a more of a center map pull here. Should be pretty chill. We're just gonna watch this on 4x speed. Kind of raw. I just really want to see exactly what he does. I really want to point out any small errors, any issues, any things he could be doing better. Because at the end of the day, this is for Laser Crash. This is for him to, you know, pick up on his small mistakes. And when you're talking about studying the game, when you're studying the game, and when you're watching your own game back, it's all about the most micro, pointing out every little detail, right? It all matters because you want to improve on everything across the board. Because I feel like a lot of you guys have heard of this before or have dealt with this before, where it's like, man, this tournament was so close. If I just cleaned up the smallest mistakes, if I just blocked my back that one game, you know, if I just made a full box, you know, instead of a stair tarp that one game, right? It's all about the micro, the small things. So right here, sees a player, right? I would say in this scenario, it's not the worst possible situation, right? Like, it's not like, okay, yeah, he probably should have been aware that there was a guy, like, who's back here, right? This is unrealistic. But on the same note, right? And no disrespect to the boy, very trippy, but I mean, take a look at this. I mean, 29 builds, only wood, right? And what do you have? You've got 75 bullets. You could definitely 100% put all 75 into him, burn through his mats, make him really shambles, and just kind of see how he reacts. I mean, this is a great sign right here. Anybody that's in these areas where like, whoa, this caught me off guard. There's never a guide on here. Like, that guy is somebody that you should be confident in fighting. Not saying this scenario, this is exactly what he should do, because the zone is kind of far, but definitely something to take account, right? Like, take advantage of any opportunity like that where like, this guy is not supposed to be here. This is pretty odd. Secondly, I think that you should always, even though you know this guy maybe would have fried you in this exact scenario, I think you should always zipline or pad, right? You have the pad here. Most definitely pad, right? If you're gonna go towards that route and you're gonna finish this loot route, definitely pad. You're gonna have way more visibility, and you know, you're gonna be able to see what's ahead of you, right? You could have seen maybe there's these people on the coastline fighting. But yeah, so I would say in this exact scenario, a pad would be the play here, just because you would have seen this already. You know, you wouldn't be down a valley because now you don't know who's above you. And I talk about this a ton, but it's about your blind spot. So I want to see how you Laser Crash. I want to see how you react to going up a hill, which is a blind spot, right? And this isn't necessarily just your regular old blind spot, right? This is really a like something where someone could be. This is a threat. You know, this is a potential, could be game wrecking here, right? There's a ton of different blind spots we can talk about. Like, for example, right? Let's see here. Going up this hill, okay? You come up this hill right here, you're building up, you just want to ramp this tree. This is a blind spot that, yes, it's blind. You don't know if there's 5 guys right here crouching behind, ready to spray you. You don't know, what the angles look like. You can't tell what's over this hill. But it's really not somewhere where someone should be, right? It's pretty low odds. So you got to weigh your odds, weigh your chances. Like, okay, is there a guy that could be up here? And again, this is a spot where there's a shrine that attracts players. There's loot, there's chests, there's barrels. And this is something that you would have seen while you're flying in, right? You would have seen this for sure as you're dropping in on that pad. Scanning it is good. And yeah, you see the shots. You know they're over there, so be wary of that. Set your TP, go down and grab this guy. So you know you're going to have to drop heals for this guy, right? So what I would always suggest, I don't know why I'm stuck in the mountain here. What I would always suggest is if you know you're going to drop heals, right? You know you're going down there, you got to throw your big pots, throw them up here, leave them up here, drop them behind the tree, drop them on your TP. Even if you wanted to be extra safe, which I think this is a fine scenario to do what you're doing, just pearl down, go get it, or set your pearl and go get it. You could box your pearl, you could throw your loot in a box if you really feel the need. But yeah, definitely drop your heals up top, right? Because if something does happen, you want to be able to get it back. And then a little bit of a misclick there on the pearl. That's okay. in my opinion here, and this is just me being very nitpicky because I like the small details, right? And that, again, that's what matters. That's what's going to set you apart from getting third in a tournament, first in a tournament, or even, fighting for top 100 is the small details. Saving that one extra pearl is probably the play here because you accidentally did it. Okay, unfortunate. Again, you have 15 pearls. At the end of the day, this is a minor detail, but it's all about pointing out the smallest things for you, Laser Crash. So here, right, you see the zipline to your right. It's close enough. It's in proximity. I would opt to just hit the zipline, right? Save your one pearl. You never know. You may need that extra pearl. When the zipline's right there, you've already messed up. Okay, here's a pearl up here. Maybe you knew this is up here, so you could change your pearl out. Boom, you do it. And also, it looks like you dropped 2 big pots. So I would have opted for a blue guy or a Bob, whatever you guys want to call it, and then the 2 big pots for sure. You don't need medkits and Bob. Because now your only shield is, I mean, technically 150 shield, but you only have 30 on each pop, so a little less than that. And of course, you'll get something from this. And typically, these shrines, they drop big pots, so we'll see what you get here, but most definitely you're gonna get the water boon, which is great, and then a big pot probably. And then same thing with this, right? So this is a trigger, right? This is an audio cue. That's somebody down here, right, coming up. Okay, yeah, that guy's opening the shrine. I know what he's doing, right? So I can make a play, or I could do whatever I want, or right, someone could see this from across the map. Someone could be over here and just kind of see the effects, right? Kind of like the glistening of the shrine opening. It's not a moment you want to be standing still. Again, all this is very, very minor, extremely, like, they don't really change much this game. We're gonna get into what really changes the game for you in this game, what made you, get a 19th place here. But it's all about the little things, right? You don't want to be building the habit of standing still when you're opening this thing. Definitely build on it. Let them know you have it. Don't be afraid to show your mats. And then, yeah, what did you get here? Let's just see. So you did get a big pot, right? So definitely the play would have been, carry your 3 big pots, leave your medkits up here because you're tanking a storm. Get the shrine, pop the barrels. That's great to just sustain your HP. Of course, you should have. Oh, you did pick up the pearl. Okay. And then, yeah, right before you're about to go, you could even throw a zipline or throw a medkit down, hit the zipline, right? Come on down, throw it again, right? Continue to just cycle it because you need whites, right? Now you're gonna have to actually burn a medkit that you didn't want to burn anyways. So definitely being more cautious of what you're doing with your whites and with your heals, and feeling no need to not throw them ahead. It doesn't hurt, right? It's gonna take you maybe 2 seconds to pick up an item and throw it. And realistically, no one's over here that's going to see you do it, so it's really low risk, right? Great, you get a gold AR, that's perfect. Now you get your med kit. Again, I like to be super just efficient, right? So pop the med kit, right? While I'm popping it, I'm sprinting, jumping, and sliding, right? Popping the med kit, just getting as much distance as I can cover, hitting the zip line. I would already be up here, right? I'd already be this, 10 seconds ahead. It's all about maximizing your movement, maximizing everything. And then even if I am, like, let's say I'm in that exact scenario and I'm trying to pop a medkit here, whatever it is, I'm full aware, right? I'm not trying to risk anything. Again, it's just a habit I have built in, even though I know no one's back here, right? Like, it's so rare in a 54-player lobby here. It's very unlikely that there's going to be anybody back here to see me, but I'm still going to be just looking around nonstop. I'm not letting anything happen, especially if I know that I need this game based off the timing and the game split I have. And then here, yeah, you see it's looted. But your fastest route is still the zip line, right? If you're thinking about a max efficiency, just running and moving across the map, it's the zip line, slide down the hill, come on down here, then pearl, right? You're kind of getting to the same spot, but you would have been out a minute ago. Now, looks like you're kind of choosing to go around, which is fine, but again, now you're using a pearl that you might not have to use a pearl. Okay, looks like you're going for the pad, so it's actually not a horrible play, but you could still have gotten up this hill just probably faster, honestly, if you just hit the zip line, come through. But I don't hate it. I mean, again, these are very minor things. Boom. Pad. Now you're padding. You're looking at, right now when you're flying, you're looking down and in the valleys and in little like hidey holes, right? Like little pockets of trees, right? Is there someone that's crouching behind that tree right there, right? Is there somebody on the rock, on the wood there? Maybe in the bush, right? What's the possibilities? Because what you don't want to happen anytime in this game is you don't want something to catch you off guard. And then you're questioning what's happening, and the stress is just rising, right? You're panicking more and more and more, right? You don't know if there's a guy in the bush, but if you know, okay, all right, so right here, boom, got the road, got a couple trees, got to be careful. Okay, if I see the shot coming in this direction, it's probably behind the tree, so I got to try to swerve and play the tree, right? You're thinking about these things really quickly. It's not like it's something you need to process a ton in the moment, but just a quick thought. Because you don't have to be checking the mountain, right? This is a pretty clear, like, okay, I'm looking at the hill. There's clearly no one on the hill. And yeah, here you see a bob, so definitely feel free to throw your bob down, pick this one up, or if you want to be extra safe, you could switch your bobs with this guy, throw yours down, and then pick yours back up, just in case, because you never know, right? This could be one charge, right? It's unlikely because it's the way this tournament is, 54 players alive. You know, you don't see anybody around you. If you're playing maybe like a stacked solo Cash Cup finals, right, where there's 90 players alive right now, then it could be used. And then here, right, same thing. You have the chance to pad, right? Take it. Hindsight shows, obviously, there's no one here that's going to see you, but definitely 100% the play is to pad. Because again, just like that pad when you could have padded earlier in the game, right, when you landed, it's going to give you visibility. You're going to see everyone and everywhere, right? See the valleys, check everything, check the little hidey spots as you're gliding, right? Glance the hills, make sure no one's here, but just keep going, right? Just keep moving. And then, one thing I want to mention, this is, again, I'm going to stop saying it's a minor detail. I'm just going to point it out, all right? You know what? I'm going to point it out. But POI clusters are a thing. And not necessarily in this exact moment, but I want you to be aware, Laser Crash, that there is a thing like that. That is a thing. So if you look here, I mean, let me see if I can play it here so I can move the map. Right, you got brutal boxcars. There's a bunch of players within the near vicinity of it, right? You've got kind of Fox Affiliate. You got a couple people around here. You've got, there's obviously a one player in Seaport. Right, you've got all these people up here. These are bots, I think, but there's 2 actual players. Right, POI clusters are a thing. And again, this is not the exact time to show you guys this because it's early game. So it's really not a thing in this exact moment. But definitely later in the game, like maybe 3-4 zones from now, it's going to be clumped. Because people want to be in buildings. They want to refarm. They want to get extra loot. So you being in the POI just worries me a little bit. And it's not something that I would do. I would always opt to stay on the outside ring of it at the very least, unless you know you need something. Unless you're like, I see that med kit, I want it, right? Go get it. Because, again, it's at the moment of the game where there's really nothing you should be worried about. There's no one around you. And then here, right, you're choosing to kind of sit in a building, which isn't a bad spot to be, right? Fine, dandy. But, why not sit in this bush right across the way, right? Why not sit, there's a bush over there. Why not sit in the bush that's across the way? Why not sit... Why not be, have a perspective at least, right? Give yourself something. You could sit maybe even up here, right? On this top, kind of just crouching in a cone, just giving a 360 view. Like, you put a wall here. Yes, you can be seen and shot at, but you're just at least getting perspective, right? Because this is the thing. The best way I can explain this is, if you guys tried playing your next tournament looking down the entire time, right? It's not possible. You wouldn't want to do it. You'd say, I'm crazy. Right? It's not possible. Your anxiety, your stress, your unease about what's around you and what's happening would be through the roof. Or even on a simple term, play the game without visual audio. It's difficult because you're so used to it and it gives you such a good clue of what's around you. It's the same thing here. Like, you can't be just like in a building not having perspective. It's fine to be shot at. Be confident if you get shot at. It's not like you're gonna instantly be getting fought or keyed. Be confident in your own mechanics and your own builds. And if you're not confident in that, I recommend going and watch the last video I just posted. That tells you everything you need to know about Raiders map. So, how you can improve your mechanics is there. But yeah, be confident, right? Get that perspective, for sure. And then here, right, you have a chance, right here, hop on the train. I don't think it's a bad play to get on the train. I don't think it's, too sketchy. But when you're on the train, if you do take this option, right, let's say you did, have an option, right? Okay, if I get shot, right, I'm going to sit right here. If I get shot, instantly dropping to the right or the left. And you can kind of change it based off of what's around you. So, like, let's say here, right? Okay, I see there's a rock to my right. I'm going to use that as cover. I know this is a permanent rock, so ready? Okay, I'm getting shot. Drop to the right. Box on the rock. Okay, now I have one side, I can't get server focus. Can't get sprayed. And you can kind of do that all the way through. Again, that's not that deep. It's not saying you guys have to sit there and plan every single second on the train. But if you can, right? There's great things to just build a habit of. Right, so that guy you see is there. Again, confidence, right? At least you're getting perspective here. So you're getting an understanding of what's around you, and you're able to plan a bit more. And that's really, really good. But here's the thing. It's solo cash cups, right? Now, no disrespect to my boy Joker Bunker. But, right, let's replace Joker Bunker with Peterbot, okay? This is an extreme scenario. If he sees you sitting crouching behind a rock, playing kind of slow, like it's almost like zero builds, right? He's gonna key you. You're a free lick, right? Of course, Peterbot would probably key anybody, but I think you guys understand the point. Your perception of how other people see you is very, very important. And I have talked about this before in older videos, but even coming down to your skin, your pickaxe, your gun wrap, people pay attention to it. And, maybe not on the level I do. I think I'm probably one of the only players that's ever memorized people's gun wraps in the pro scene for NA. So I was able to tell who I was fighting at all times. But definitely your back bling, right? Don't have a back bling. No one has a back bling. If we, skip through this entire lobby here, this guy doesn't have a back bling. This guy doesn't have a back bling, right? I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but you guys know obviously don't wear back bling, but it kind of comes down to your skin, right? Do you see the world's best players using the skin? If so, yeah, okay, then I would be confident using it, right? Because your perception of this guy, right, is okay. This guy's wearing he's got a sword or a knife pickaxe. He's wearing a toy soldier skin. Name one pro that has ever worn a knife pickaxe, not just this exact one, but just any single swinging pickaxe, right? A blade, a knife, any of the dual, like it doesn't matter, right? And then same thing, combine that with the toy skin. Doesn't happen. You couldn't name a pro. So confident from you could say this is the chances, the odds with the elo I'm in, with the way he's moving and functioning around the map, this guy cannot be a pro. Right? And then as you're doing these things like this, so you're shooting him and checking to see what he does, you're just getting a more of a confirmation. This guy's in a cone. I shot him. I fried him. He didn't build right away. Boom. Okay, that's another chance to be less likely to be a pro. And you're just going to continue to check that checklist off until you eventually are so sure that you can set your playstyle to be however you want. Aggressive, jump in the box, knowing that like he's not going to bail out. He's not going to do some hero play. So, right there, right? These are just small checklist things that you don't want someone to see on you, but you want to see on other players, right? And in solos, it's especially important, right? You're you versus everybody, right? It's one man team. So we'll skip ahead here a bit. We'll 4x it. All right, so you pull zone here, pretty good pull, and you have perspective. Now, a couple things, right? You're in a bush, okay? Great. I absolutely love sitting in bushes. I think it's a beautiful spot to be. But as soon as you know you pulled the next zone, you have a higher likely chance of anybody coming around you, right? Like it's again in hindsight, we're looking at it. There's no one that maybe this guy right here, maybe this misty guy will wrap around, right? Maybe the very trippy will come back around boldly and try to see if he can mess with you again. But anytime you have a chance to like kind of clear your track, I would definitely recommend doing it. Break these walls with your pickaxe. Just run out here, smack it twice, come back in. Now there's a 0% chance that any new players like your boy not Misty or Chill Guy Aspect or Ziggy or any of these guys that, have no idea what this terrain's like over here, they definitely don't know you're there. There's a 0% chance. But again, just kind of like the, reacting to how the players look and how they react to certain things like you did with this guy, right? If they see that, they're probably going to say, okay, there's a likely chance someone's in there. Like it's not a 0% chance. There's some percent chance because there's a ton of bushes on the map, right? If we even look here, we got 1, 2, let's see here. I can see a third one over there. We got a fourth one right there. Fifth. I'm not even gonna go on. I can't even count higher than 5. I can't lie. But got a lot of bushes. Okay, so there's a high odds that players are either in them or not, right? And so definitely try to clear your chances, make them as low as possible. So maybe someone does run in the bush. All right, so here you are with a pearl, and this is the one thing I want to mention, and not necessarily an issue. I guess we'll see how it turns out for you. Let me put the 1x speed here. But in this meta, going late is almost never the play. Like it's almost never, ever, ever the play, unless you're in a very 20 players alive, and like you have all this information that nobody can see you, and going late is fine, and all this. Even in that scenario, you probably wouldn't. You'd probably be better off just going early. But this is what's going to happen because everyone can go ahead. Again, this is a interesting scenario because this guy just didn't have to move, right? He was just here. But everyone can go ahead so fast with these pearls that if you go even a little bit late, right? You used to be able to do that. In a previous pad meta or a fizz meta, you could go late like that for sure because you had a lot of people also going late with you. But now it's about not necessarily going early as possible and being the first, but definitely kind of hitting that middle ground. And yeah, being very, very careful you don't go super, super late here. So you got that. Guy shot you late. And also, I want to mention, it was a bit of a blind pearl, right? You kind of just shot it over, teleported, right? And you didn't know necessarily if there's a guy right here, right? It's unlikely. But never want a blind pearl if you can. I would much rather have you just kind of got into this bush, check it out. Okay, yep, I see it. All right, now if I really want to blind pearl, I'm expecting. I'm gonna blind pearl down here and land right here, and just know that it's guaranteed. I don't know what's below this, and I'm gonna play off of that. That's fine. You are gonna have to do that sometimes. But if you can, try to never blind pearl or blind rotate at all, right? And here, perspective, knowing that they can see you, right? Knowing that they're following your every move, and then again, just the way they see you, right? If they see you kind of crouching around, playing a little slow, right? It's going to be a tell sign that, like, okay, if this guy wants to play a little bit more aggressive, let's say he's one build. He's got one build to his name. He's got to pick on one player here. You know, if he's being smart, the odds are you're the best player to pick on, right? You got the you know, you look the worst in this exact scenario. So perspective is very, very important, especially in solos. I cannot stress that enough. So we pulled zone. I'm just gonna let me just 4x this. We pulled the great zone. So something you can do now that you pulled zone, that I would always recommend, is going dead side, right? I know you're in a position and you're in dead center zone, and that's great and lovely. And again, I'll be honest with you, in this exact scenario, it really doesn't matter because you're already such high mats. You know, it's such a dead game, and you can kind of tell the elo around you. These players, I don't think there's many, you know, high tier, very, very aggressive players that are going to, you know, take advantage of anything. They're just going to let you, everyone here is just letting you play the game out. Everyone's playing the game out themselves. But in a more stacked lobby, right, when you get more points early on, you're able to be in those stacked games, definitely take advantage of that side. You could be back here, farming up your mats and brick, whatever it is, chilling in the bush, same position, similar perspective, but now if it goes up this hill, boom, you have height first, right? If it goes over here, great, you just pearl across, right? So it gives you way more options and way more perspective, and your rotates are just 10 times better. If you guys can play dead side in this meta, it's more powerful than it's ever been before. It's more powerful than it's ever been before because you can cover so much terrain so fast. Typically, like, let's imagine it's a fizz meta, right? And you're here, yes, you're in dead side, but then, you know, there's a guy on the other side of this hill that's, you know, you're trying to both fizz and run at the hill, but, you know, that guy might have a sword this game, you might have a pearl, or he might have nothing, or he might have low pearl so he doesn't use it, right? So you're just able to cover so much ground so fast. You can almost pull to either way instantly. You could, from this position, right, from this bush, you can pearl up that hill or, you know, across the lake. Not fully, of course, because that's kind of insane, but pretty close. And then you just run the rest up, or you just box up and do it again. Gives you more freedom. But now everyone's kind of counting on you. Like, imagine, right? This zone pulls this way, right? Next zone pulls this way. Everyone's kind of watching you. So, okay, does this guy go first? Because if you don't go first, then that's a threat that they need to worry about. So if you can just eliminate yourself from that equation and also eliminate other players from your equation to make sure that, you know, you don't have to count on anybody else going. If it pulls this way, right? Pulls this direction, okay? You got to wait for this guy to go, or you got to see some type of movement in one of these players, right? If this guy goes first, one of these guys is going to go. It's guaranteed. Like, someone's going to go on a different timing. If they go together, it's unlikely. So whatever the scenario is, you just, you know, follow this guy. Okay, he goes first. Okay, I'll go that way. Then I'll come here. All right, now I got to wait for this guy to go. Okay, he went. Okay, I'll go. All right, it's not always about exactly following the person, but you definitely need to. You can't just run by this guy, right? He's gonna open on you, right? That's pretty common sense. But yeah, that's why dead side's super powerful. And then again, another thing you should be definitely doing here, it looks like you kind of are planning here, is exactly that, right? Okay, zone pulls this way. What do? Okay, I'm going to drop down, short pad to zone. Okay, great. Okay, zone goes this way. I got to wait for these guys, right? And if that's your answer, if you got to wait for somebody, then there's more of a reason to, if you could have, try to put yourself on dead side. So zone pulls, and look, it goes pretty much directly towards those guys. So you kind of do have to wait for their timing a little bit. Because if you start to run for free, right? Boom. You're going to come here. You can maybe make it to here, but now you got to see your options. So you see that guy pearl. Right, that's great. You see that perspective. He goes. You know he teleports out. Now you know one more guy. Okay, boom. You probably don't see that guy. Maybe you do see the wall edited. You probably didn't see that guy. And I don't think you know this guy's in the building here. This guy's just absolutely crouched up on you. Right? So you're trying to play in your rotates. And again, try to be, not saying you're not checking around you, but try to be as mobile as you can. You want to get as many options as you can, right? You don't want to just rely on this guy leaving. If this guy leaves, and you see all 4 players right here, or all 3 players, they all leave. Dude, go to your left. Easy, right? Make it simple. But hindsight, right? If we were able to be dead side, let's take a look at the rotate here. So you would have been back here, okay? You would have gotten all your mats up. Render distance for this guy on the hill would have been, 300 meters. So you could have just been in this bush, marked him. Again, of course, we saw him go to that hill. So you could have, at that point, gotten below him or whatever you wanted to do. But you could definitely, wrap around him here. Or you just sit in the bush and wait for him to go because he's going to go eventually. Or he doesn't go and you still just wrap around him, right? You can see kind of where he is. right? You definitely could have wrapped here, blocked his angle, no perspective, right? Use these trees for wood, continue to use the trees for wood. You would have burned 0 builds because of all these trees can connect to each other, right? So one wood wall and some cones slapping around, boom, connect, refarm, all this. Even would have got your brick up. And then this guy would have eventually just stopped. He would have been like, okay, this guy, it's not even worth my time to spray the wood or even mess with the wood. And now look, you're right here with this guy, boom, right in the zone or very, very close. 1 pearl away. And you have a potential chance to scout your rotate. And then also, you're giving yourself the option to play dead side again. You could have sat right here, right on the edge, or sat anywhere and just it's expanded with the next zone. So let's see what you do here. Let's see what your play is. Okay, so you see that guy's there, right? And you should have seen him drop in that bush. Like, that's a clear, he's in that bush. I know he's in the bush. So when you go, right? Understand, your perspective is the same, right? He can see you. Like, it's a full angle on you. This guy is just the luck of the lobby, you know? It's the luck of the lobby. But he didn't want to shoot you, didn't want to take advantage of it. And also, this bush, right? This bush, you knew that was there, right? So, same thing, right? When you pearl, it's got to be... These are my threat points. I see that guy's there. I know he's there. 100%. This bush, I'm not really sure. So I need to make sure when I build, I guarantee turn around and block my back or build a box. Right? Boom. Right? Block your angles right away. So again, now onto this part, right? You come here, right? You know that guy's there. He pearls over. Not necessarily a threat. He's clearly pearling away. You could, if you wanted to, you could put a wall, box up real quick. It's okay to make a quick box. Right, just a quick little something easy. This though, right? I want to go back and actually we don't have to rewatch it. But this situation here, right? Coming through here and kind of doing what you did here, turning your back to the crowd. Oh, you're invisible now. There we go. Turning your back to the crowd is never the play, right? Never do this, right? If you're gonna box up, commit to the box and make sure that you're not getting shot from these guys. Because again, the luck of the lobby is Tattoo Major and your boy Fideli didn't really want to shoot you. They didn't even know you were there. They thought you were invisible. But in a little bit higher elo where there's actual people that have a brain attached, you're going down. And the next thing here, right? Why can't I see the map? Let me skip ahead here. Next thing is you're causing a lot of pull to yourself, right? And as we can see here, just by zooming on the map here, you're not in zone. You are not in zone. And again, if these guys have a brain attached, and you're making all this noise, you're doing all this. This is essentially the same thing. Essentially, it's a tough word for me. This is essentially the same thing as just fighting a guy, right? I mean, you would have been better off just taking your shotgun out and just absolutely firing this guy, building a ton, shooting a ton. I mean, you're making just as much noise as that, right? And with the pearl, this guy has no threat on you, right? You just toss your pearl. What is he going to do? He's going to shoot the pearl midair and like, there's nothing he can do, right? So as long as you pearl insta-land and insta-build, you're good. All right, so that's not a threat. But I like that you're thinking about that. I like that you're at least checking those things. But these are things that, like, if you just made this, if you just did this consistently enough, right? Which would have been, if you're checking that, you might as well have checked that bush. You might as well have shot that bush and made him build before you went, right? You might as well have blocked your angles to make sure, right? You're checking all these angles and you're making sure, but you got to do it consistently. And then again, right? All this to say is that you're spraying and making a ton of noise when you're not in zone. Again, if this guy has a brain, if this guy has a brain, if this guy's a brain, all he's doing is like, this is free. This is super free. One person sprays you, and again, you're not even prepared for it. It doesn't, no disrespect to you, but it doesn't look like it, right? So if this guy sprays you and maybe another guy tag teams you 2 seconds later, it's over for you. Like, I guarantee you would get fried, you would be caught off guard, you would eventually get server focused, and that is the most common thing that happens in these lobbies, is that if you get caught or somebody wants to mess with you and just dump all their ammo into you. I mean, we look at these guys' inventory, right? 200 bullets. And there's 30 players alive. No surge, right? 130 players alive. No surge. 113 from this guy. 115, right? This guy. 200, right? They lose nothing. They lose literally nothing. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of the fun of playing solo sometimes. I will do this personally. Like, this guy's being annoying, or you know what? I just don't like this guy. And I see him, he's in a horrible position. I'm just gonna make him pay. I'm gonna spray all my ammo. I've even used 250 bullets of my own ammo and gotten all the way down to 0 just to try to kill somebody and get him griefed, and it worked, right? So that's solos. Like, if you get picked on, you're gonna get picked on, Right, next thing, blind pearl, right? You could definitely see it, but this is not a need. Shooting it high doesn't really change much. Right? It's better to be able to see where your pearl's going to land, because now, right, you could have seen this guy was here, but it didn't seem like you saw him in that exact angle when you're looking up to shoot the pearl. So be very careful when you do pearl. It's nice and set on what you actually want it to be, not necessarily throwing it up as high as possible. Great, you land, you build brick, that's all perfect. One thing, again, just the perspective of everyone else in the lobby. Not that this is a bad thing, because I think a lot of people may not pick up on it, but you should definitely land and triple way your cone, right? And what I mean by triple way, talked about it a ton, but you just come in here and you edit this tile, and this tile, right? You kind of swing it towards the lobby, so you have max protection. Then here, right, you swing it this way towards the lobby, so your angles are fully covered. They can't even see you in the box, because that's the worst thing that you want to happen, right? Is now, if somebody wants to do what I just explained that I did, they can. I mean, I can see you right here, clear as day. You are right in that box, 100%, right? And you have, I've got one wall I got to break before I can get one bullet in, right? Or at least mess with you. So if you're not playing to that, people are going to take advantage of it for sure. Right? Same thing. Again, the perspective. Imagine, okay? You see someone else do this, right? They are super slow. They edit the wall, right? Boom. Why not, right? I mean, what does my boy Ziggy lose? He doesn't need this. He's got 3 kills, right? He doesn't need. He's not gonna. He knows he's not gonna get the kill on you, right? He guarantee knows he's not gonna get the kill on you. He's just doing it because, why not? Because it's solos. You can, right? So boom. Now you have to waste your blob, right? And it's just a little bit of a mess. So if you're gonna edit like that and you know you're gonna clear it out, just like, okay, right, ready? I'm gonna do top row and I'm gonna edit the cone. Top row, edit the cone, close, right? And then edit my cone back to make sure I'm blocked, right? Boom. Get that done quick. Have that thought out in your head. And these are things that, like, these aren't things you have to think super deeply and like, okay, let me think here. Edit my wall, edit my cone, reset. Edit my cone. Boom. Like, right? That's everything like this happens quickly. It's mechanics, right? If you need to build a box, you can build a box, right? Not even a worry. Right? No need to think about it too deep, but definitely make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what your plan is. So here, right? You can see that you can go right? You see that you don't know there's a guy right here. Obviously, you can kind of see it's a little weak, but I would take my chances and say that, this doesn't look like there's a box here. I can't see a cone here. So could there be a player there? Yes, sure. But I would definitely opt to shoot my pearl to the right and then just playing the odds game, right? I mean, there's not a lot of space here, so that's kind of fits into the odds of, like, there's probably not 5 players here. But also, it's dead side, right? Like, this was in the storm, like, a bit ago, right? What is it, like a minute ago? So, and then also, great, this is perfect, right? You see this guy, you can shoot him if you want, that's fine, right? You see this guy, 0 audio, 0 chaos happened here, meaning if he was good, I should be pretty good. And you can use all these things to play into making your answer the right choice, right? So playing off other players is very, very important, right? You see this guy go, you didn't get shot at, I'm going to take that same rotate, 100%. Right? And again, being quick with your pearl, because you're peeking, right? You have an angle here. This entire time you were over peeking. Could have got fried. And then again, it's not about shooting it so high. It's about just being accurate with it, right? Because now, right, you land, boom. You have no idea this guy's right here, or you're not like aware because you're not actually able to see where your pearl is landing. It's like okay, I'm just gonna be here, look up, kind of little down, shoot my pearl. Okay, I hope I land. I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm hoping I'm landing in a good spot. That's what you're doing, right? You're looking at your pearl, but you're essentially blind pearling because you're not actually picking where you want to pearl. You're just kind of hoping that your height takes you to what you expect is there. And then again, right? You saw this guy rotate this way, so the odds of someone being there is potentially, it's a high. I'd say it's 50% chance the guy's there. So when you land, right? I saw you didn't build right away. That can't happen. You gotta be snappy. And it's not like you're burning 500 metal in this exact scenario, but two wood builds, a wall and a stair, 2 walls, whatever it is, right? And then your awareness on not understanding that you saw that guy before and expecting him to not be there got you to lose 90 shield, right? And then again, you kind of, we'll go back and rewatch this, but you kind of just did the same thing with the pearl, is where you just shot it blindly. So watch this. We'll watch this whole thing back. All right, so you see this guy go, 0 chaos. You know he's good. Or, nothing really happened. No audio cues, no visual audio. He didn't get sprayed at. He's good. Take this as my route. The timing of it is honestly fine because it's such a dead game, and you know that guy had no chaos there, so you know you're not going to really get caught up. And again, you know he's there, so instantly when you land, you build right away. Not just now, before this. Right? And then here it looks like, in general, you just didn't know he was there. So, right? And then again, you're just kind of looking up. Like, your whole game plan is just, let me just look how high I can look with the pearl and shoot it. And just, you know, the general vicinity. But just take your time, right? And this is a big part of always scouting is, like, in this scenario, like right here, let's say you built a full box, put a cone in your head, right? Like, you really can't see that much. So definitely feel free to just put a stair here, box around you, cone on your head, right? Make sure this guy doesn't spray in your back. Check around you a couple times until it builds. Okay, cool. Now I can see perfectly. Okay, I want to go right on that house, or I want to go on that tree over there, or I want to go on this hill. Perfect. Do it. You know, 100%. But scout it, right? You know where you're landing, because now you got shot, which is a surprise, right? One. That's one ding. Second ding. Now you landed. Surprise, you're in storm. Ding, 2, right? Your stress is raising. Your anxiety, your unease is raising. Now you're running out. Boom. Hope I don't get sprayed. If I get sprayed, another ding, right? Now you're like, okay, all right. Woo. Relax a little bit. All right, let's tone it down, right? You're getting yourself kind of calmed back down. It doesn't have to be like that. And the game is better played when it's not like that. Also, for those that are wondering, that's a bug. That the blob does actually fall under the ground, so that's unfortunate, but all good. You only missed out on 20 shields, so. And again, this definitely could have been solved, this whole heal situation, by actually picking up the big pots earlier, so. Here you are in the end game, right? You made it this far. You are in the zone. You're having a dandy time. And at the end of the day, right? All these mistakes and these little errors in the game, they've costed you for sure, right? You've ran out of heals. You know, you've had to use your mats, etc., right? But because Fortnite is the greatest game of all time, this is still a winnable game. 100%, you can win from this exact position with this exact loadout, everything here. Not saying that you have to do it without getting a refresh. You're going to need a kill. You're going to need to get some, you know, an upgrade, some more mats or some shield. But you can definitely 100% bring it back, win this game, and probably even get like a 10 kill win here, right? You can make this the game. So you're never out of it. That's the greatest thing with solos and the greatest thing about Fortnite. All right, so here, right? Zone pulls. As soon as it pulls, it's got to be insta-look, right? You see it goes towards Seaport, right? And it's blind, right? You can't see anything, right? This is really bad for you, right? So what you have to do here, switch to metal. I don't know if you have any, but if you do, you should switch to metal here because you know you're going to go in a spot where you need to have your walls need to be healthy as they build. And then what I would do in this situation is you can kind of see this guy's here, right? Right through your cone here, right? You can see there's a guy there. So honestly, what I would do is I would check this guy and say, okay, I don't see him here. And I see this guy that he's kind of on the opposite end. I would probably either go down my wall here and, you know, floor out, or I'd probably just, you know, stair tarp this, or just one floor and then build a metal box. And now your perspective's perfect, right? Now you can see, okay, I can see a clear path here. Now I can see if I go on top of that metal cone, or onto the tree, or over the tree, or to this guy paralyzed, I can see there's a path. But what you can't see right now is a path, right? You're blocked. There's no angles. You don't know where you're going. And this is the worst part about using the pearl. You can't use it blind. So boom, you give yourself some perspective, which is good. But the issue is it's too late. Okay, you got the pressure. The zone's coming in. It's moving quick now. So now your decision making has to happen within the next probably, what, let's see, maybe 3 seconds, 2 seconds. It has to happen. You got to make a choice in 2 seconds, right? But it doesn't have to be like that. You could have had 8 seconds to make a choice. You could have had 10 seconds to make a choice. And again, the game is all about making choices on the go, right? Like, it's all about acting on the fly and, you know, responding to what's given. But the whole game isn't meant like that. It's not, the whole game is never supposed to be played like that, right? You're supposed to have a layering of, you know, highly thought out choices, right, before the game even starts, right? And then you can kind of have your in-game moments where you're scouting and checking around you, and you have a ton of time to plan your rotates, kind of like we did at the Foxy Floodgate when you could have had all those rotates planned around you, right? You've got that amount of time. Then you've got time in the end game where you could have built a box and had 5, 6 seconds, 8 seconds to you know, plan around, right? And then you've also got moments like this where you've only got 2 seconds to make a choice, right? And it's ticking down. Now you're tanking, right? Boom, shot your pearl straight down into a valley. And I'm sure you could feel it. I'm sure there's a gut feeling here like, okay, this could be really bad. I just saw my pearl dip below something that I can't see, completely blind, going into it. This may be bad, right? So, but that's the game, right? Sometimes it's going to be like this. In this scenario, though, Okay, if you know it's blind, you're like, okay, this is not good. I gotta do it though. This is in my opinion in this moment, I think it's my best shot. I'm gonna shoot the pearl blind. I'm gonna pearl. You gotta insta build. You got it. You don't know. It's a fully unknown. This guy could have a wall open. This guy could be looking at your pearl, right? Could be boxing your pearl. Insta build, right? So you land, insta build. All this running is gonna get you shot, especially if it's a more stacked game and this guy's on height, or let's say he took height, you know, even a second earlier, right? That's a free. I mean, you were the pick right there. This guy has height, but you're the focus there. This guy could easily have done that. So as soon as you blind pearl, box right away. And it's exactly what I was telling you earlier in the game. Back here, where was it? Yeah, kind of right here, right? It's a situation where you got to insta box. Pearl, this is an oh crap, I gotta go, I gotta box. So boom, now you have a chance that you're giving yourself the 8 seconds, right? You got more time to scout here. So you see a path, okay? Now, here's a time where, oddly enough, I would encourage you to actually shoot up because you need the situation to unfold a bit more here. Because now you're kind of launching yourself into the middle of everybody, or at least near other players that you know of, especially on low ground. And you're potentially, this guy, based off the timing, it's probably unlikely, but this guy could definitely, slide right into your pearl right here. Boom. I mean, he's only what? Where's he at? Maybe a tile or two away, right? And he's moving right now. So imagine that guy didn't shoot him. He slides down. Right? Okay, also imagine your pearl didn't hit the wall. But either way, this is a moment where I would have definitely recommended you to just edit your top here, double edit up, shoot your pearl up, wait for it to fall a bit because it's gonna, and then just drop. And if the guy fries you on height, that guy's pretty crazy. It's not impossible, but it's definitely not like it's gonna happen. Like your odds are definitely in your favor to shoot your pearl up and let it fall down a bit and then teleport down. Because as you're falling, right, you do that. As you're falling, you're saying, okay, this is good. High wall, land on your high wall, build it up, metal, boom. Edit your cone, safe. You're right here, you're chilling. Right? And then here, we're about to see something happen. But this is the exact issue that you did here, right? You ran, you pearled and you didn't box right away. You decided to run, and this is a further distance. You actually landed on this wood cone, and you decided that you're gonna run up here and all the way down, and then drop down, and then build your box. And it didn't get you killed. But here it is. We're about to see it. My boy Laser Crash is going down. To my boy Chill Guy Aspect. I believe. Never mind. He doesn't. There's lots of suspense there, but it actually got worse. You didn't build continuously. There's a guy in your face. You traveled even further. You actually traveled further. I thought it was over right there. I thought he was going to maximum be 130 to the head. But looks like this guy's just going to take you out of here. We'll play it out. Oh, the suspense. No, but this is the issue, right? This should not happen. This cannot happen. Your stress and your anxiety in this moment is far too high, and ultimately your focus is dropping, and that's what Souls is about. Just keeping your levels of anxiety, stress, and unease at a low, keeping your focus high, making sure that you make every little micro decision right, and you do it to your best of your ability. And if you do that correctly, your game will pan out correctly. So. There you go, Laser Crash. That was your game. You finished in 19th place. And if you want a quick note of this game from everything I remembered and everything I learned from watching you, is here we go. Number 1, okay, started in an early game, right? You should have taken the pad. You would have had more perspective. That's a mistake that we saw multiple times, right? You had the chance to take the pad there. The guy caught you off guard, right? Could have taken the pad. More perspective. That's important. Happened again here. You could have taken the pad here, but you didn't, right? So that's something you're repeating a lot. Number 2, your use of an item, right? Like saving an item, right? Back when you were on the back when you were on the shrine, you could have popped your left your medkit up there. Be very smart with what you have, and be sure to throw a medkit ahead or drop your big pots there and come back and get them. So your use of your items is lacking, right? Practice that. It's very easy. And then the next thing we saw was perspective, right? Giving yourself that perspective. There's a reason why you scout in your cone, right? But instead you decided to sit in a building, and that's something that we saw a couple times where you just didn't give yourself the right perspective. You were going into things blindly. So don't do that, right? Bushes are great. Cones are great. You can actually see everything around you. And then the next thing is going into any blind spots, right? Knowing you're going to TP, what's going to be the scenario. So as soon as you get in, teleport, land, box, triple A your cone, secure yourself. Boom. That would have saved you a couple mats and maybe a potential, scary situation. It didn't happen, but you never know. And then, yeah, understanding your pearl. Never blind pearl. It can never be a blind pearl, right? It's got to be the exact you know, where you want to go. And if it's blind, it's okay to be blind, right? Because not everything's going to be perfect. You cannot always have the most exact perfect pearl. I'm going to land right here and drop down and do this exact thing. It's not going to be perfect. And even if it does, you know, even if you plan it out, it could still turn for the worst, right? Somebody could pearl with you and jump in your box or just whatever it is, right? So, but if you can, always try to have a pearl that you can see, right? So if you're in this scenario, right, where you're this guy right here and you're stuck behind this wall, then go up or around and have this perspective here. That's something that you didn't do a ton of times. And then most importantly, I think the biggest issue, because again, like I talked about, Fortnite is a game where it's winnable in any scenario, is you just need to box right away. Like you pearl, you land, box. Pearl, you land, box. You're doing way too much running, trying to cover way too much distance, and you have builds. I mean, I don't know how many exactly you had, but I think over 500. So again, something that's super manageable, easy. You can make the game count with 500 mats, pull it out to be the best game possible, and yeah, go from there. But definitely need to build, land, build right away, scout, pearl, land, build right away, scout. Not the opposite of pearl, blindly, land, run as far as I can before someone shoots at me or before I feel like something's going to happen, then box, right? Because again, you saw it here, it caught you off guard. And this ended up being a 19th place game, which, let's see, we are at 142 right now. Let's see if I can do some quick math here. 142, and you started the game at 110. So you got a 32-point game out of that, which is not bad, but not great. And you continue to have only 32-point games, and you're not going to qual. It's not possible. Actually, maybe it is possible, but don't do it. It's too difficult, too stressful, too uncommon. Yeah, so that's it, my boy Laser Crash. I got you, brother. I'm glad I was able to help you. And for anybody else who's watching to this part of the video, drop a comment and say Cease's thesis in all caps. Say Cease's thesis in all caps. And then as long as you have your, like, you could do dash and then your name, your in-game name. And I'll do another one of these. I'll pick somebody that says Cease's thesis in all caps, dash your name, so I can look up your Fortnite tracker, right? If you don't put your name, then I can't find your games. And I'll just pick one of your games from your most recent tournaments, you know, game similar to this, and I'll watch it. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again, Laser Crash. Hope you learned a lot. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.